kini mimpiku terwujud. Bermula dari sebuah kota yang kenikmatan bakpianya akan selalu teringat. Setiap romansa di sudut kotanya tak akan terlupa. Kulinernya, kehangatan, dan keramahan orang-orangnya, keunikannya, semua istimewa. Dan di tempat ini, mimpi besar mulai kutuliskan. Sebuah tempat yang mengubah hidupku, UIN Sunan Kalijaga. Berawal dari tekadku yang kuat, aku mendapatkan kepercayaan dari orang yang meyakini bahwa siapa saja bisa mewujudkan mimpi di UIN Sunan Kalijaga. Sebagai kampus perguruan tinggi agama Islam negeri tertua di Indonesia yang diresmikan pada 26 September 1951, dalam perjalanan sejarahnya, UIN Sunan Kalijaga telah melahirkan banyak generasi terbaik untuk bangsa. Ada 6 pilar core values penopang UIN Sunan Kalijaga. Dengan core values tersebut, UIN Sunan Kalijaga memiliki visi menjadi institusi yang unggul dan terkemuka dalam pemaduan dan pengembangan keislaman dan keilmuan bagi peradaban. UIN Sunan Kalijaga terdiri dari 8 fakultas dengan 60 program studi dan program pascasarjana. Sebagai jembatan mediasi berbagai macam disiplin keilmuan, sinergi antara sains dan agama diwujudkan untuk menghasilkan lulusan yang memiliki kemampuan akademis dan profesional. Lulusan UIN Sunan Kalijaga adalah para generasi penerus bangsa yang beriman, berakhlak mulia, serta memiliki kecakapan sosial yang selalu menghargai nilai keilmuan dan kemanusiaan. UIN Sunan Kalijaga memiliki visi yang luar biasa bagi peradaban di masa depan. Rancangan yang disusun menjadi satu langkah untuk mewujudkan visi UIN Suka untuk bangsa, UIN Suka mendunia. Tidak cukup sekedar konsep, realisasi formulasi keunggulan juga didukung berbagai sarana dan prasarana. Fasilitas-fasilitas tersebut adalah bentuk komitmen UIN Sunan Kalijaga mendukung para mahasiswa untuk dapat bertumbuh, berkembang, dan memiliki kemampuan akademis yang disertai soft skill yang mumpuni. Dukungan penuh juga diberikan UIN Sunan Kalijaga kepada mahasiswa untuk dapat berprestasi, tidak hanya di tingkat nasional, tapi juga hingga internasional. Goresan pena mimpi yang bermula di UIN Sunan Kalijaga ini satu demi satu telah terwujud. Mimpiku kuliah S3 di Perancis sudah terwujud. Tapi mimpi ini belum berakhir karena masih ada tugas yang panjang. Indonesia masih membutuhkan lebih banyak lagi generasi berprestasi.
Assalamualaikum Jogja.
Waalaikumsalam, Paris.
Insya Allah, saya siap untuk kembali mengajar.
Alhamdulillah. Kami tunggu kabar selanjutnya.
untuk mewujudkan mimpi yang lebih besar bagi bangsa ini. UIN Suka untuk bangsa. UIN Suka mendunia.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Ada paket tuh di meja.
Hah? Paket dari siapa, Bu?
Iya, mana ibu tahu tole?
Wah, dari Paris.
Jam segini kok baru pulang. Nggak usah pulang sekalian. Kamu tuh ngapain di perpustakaan? Terus nulis apa meneh kamu tuh? Sok banget tuh jadi anak. Kok punya mimpi kok jadi duta besar? Nah, mbok ngoco. Nggak usah neko-neko kalau punya mimpi. Dibikin
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'du.
The Honorable Director of State Islamic University of Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta.
The Dean of Faculty of Dakwah and Communication, UIN Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta.
The Head of Social Work Study Program, Faculty of Dakwah and Communication, UIN Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta.
All distinguished invited speakers
And all the lecturers and participants.
First of all, let's thank to Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Because of His mercy and blessing, we can attend this international webinar in good health.
Secondly, salawat and salam are always delivered to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has guided us from the darkness into the lightness. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the third international webinar 2022 on vulnerability and social protection across the world, identifying challenges, progress, and lessons learned.
This international webinar is conducted by the School of Social Work, Faculty of Dakwah and Communication, UIN Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta.
Here, I am Ihsas Mahasin.
And I'm Alhanna Nadifa.
As the Master of Ceremony,
We
We would like to read the agenda in
this
this international webinar.
The first agenda is opening.
The second is reciting Holy Quran.
The third is singing national anthem, Indonesia Raya, and hymn of UIN Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta.
The fourth is welcoming and keynote speeches.
The fifth is international webinar.
And the last is closing.
The first agenda is opening. Let's start our agenda today by reciting Basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you.
The next agenda is reciting Holy Quran. That will be read by Mr. Muhammad Bakri, student at the School of Social Work. To Mr. Muhammad Bakri, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا. واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا. وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فأنقذكم منها. كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته ولتكن منكم أمة يدعون إلى الخير ويأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر وأولئك هم المفلحون وأولئك هم المفلحون صدق الله العظيم.
Sadaqallahul azim.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much.
The next agenda is singing Indonesia Raya and hymn of UIN Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta. Audience may rise.
Nasional ini. Non, c'est l'eau que j'aime. C'est une j'aime.
Sunan Kalijaga Islam, asas tujuanmu membangun citra keagungan bangsa berdasar Pancasila, integrasikan agama dan ilmu semesta, kemakan daya patriot Nusa tanah air minta baktimu. Jayalah negara, jayalah bangsa, UIN berkarya nyata. Amin.
All participants, please be seated. Thank you.
The next agenda is welcoming speeches. The first is welcoming speech that will be delivered by the Dean of Faculty of Dakwah and Communication, to Professor Dr. Hajah Marhumah MPD. Time is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wabihi nasta'in ala umurid dunya waddin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin. Sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadu wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'du. Your Excellency, Rector of UIN Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta, Professor Dr. Pil Al-Makin, Honorable our speakers in this international webinar, Professor Madhya Pramijit from University of Science Malaysia, Dr. Ibrahim Mubarak, Syekh Al-Allamah, Presiden Islam, the Union Islamic Cameroon, Professor Dr. Sheikh Mahmud Yuher from Bilimerli University, Turkey, Dr. Budiana, Dean of Faculty of Social and Political Science, Universitas Pasundan, Bandung, all audience, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, praises and thanks always be given to our God, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has given us mercies and blessing, so we can gather here online, in this international webinar on vulnerability and social protection across the world, identifying challenges, progress, and lesson learned. Secondly, I would like to say thanks to all the invited speakers. Thank also to all the committee from Fakultas Dakwah and Komunikasi, IKS Fakultas Dakwah and Komunikasi UIN Sunan Kalijaga, and also from UMPAS Bandung. This activity, this event was carried out collaboration with the IKS UIN Sunan Kalijaga, and also IKS from Faculty and Political Science UMPAS Bandung. We can share our about women vulnerability and social protection. Since COVID-19 disease has globally spread, which almost every single country has no confirmed positive infections. Research has revealed women hold responsibilities in domestic affairs more than their counterpart, because women either voluntarily or undeniably assume multitask, such as a homemaker, daily child nurture, driver from children's schooling, and breadwinner, and social gathering attended. Because of this pandemic, women, especially those who are in vulnerability situations, are burned out and being marginalized from participation in economy. And if proper interventions are not taken to handle this condition, their psychological being will deteriorate situation. Some women, I say about the women, yeah, because very important to say in this webinar. Some women are unemployed benefit as they receive a conditional cash transfer because they have been involved in the government program. We call the program Keluarga Harapan. Many are definitely unemployed and survived by extended families because they lead due to their employers, their working contracts due to the COVID-19, women themselves left the job as it is vulnerable to their health. Other psychological problems reported include anxiety, to severe depression and post-traumatic scholar insisted that the outbreak of COVID-19 coronavirus impacted on global mental health, like long-lasting health problems, social isolation, stigma, tension. A program for social protection, particularly non-contributory ones, have only recently begun to assist the poor and vulnerable, but they do not fully address the of citizens. Majority of people who are underdeveloped are vulnerable due to the fact that they have not reaped the full benefit of the current social protection system. These are all challenges that we have to address. What action are required? How do the government should respond? Are there best practices from Indonesia, from Turkey, and also from other countries? Yeah. These questions are critical to be discussed in this seminar, not only to the academia, but also to the practice. I think this problem to discuss in the seminar. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wallahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Professor Dr. Hajah Mahmah MPD for the inspiring speech.
Okay, the next is keynote speech from Rector UIN Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta, to Professor Dr. Bill Almakin, SAG, MA. Time is yours.
Belum muncul di layar. Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good afternoon, everybody. Congratulations for holding such a good conference, and we wish this conference will be productive, a place to discuss very important issues on vulnerability. Ibu Dekan, the Faculty of Dakwah and Communication, Professor Emma Marhumah, all Vice Deans, Ibu Prof. Jasmili, Pak Dr. Mustafa, and Pak Dr. Fajar Hotma, and present in this room, Ibu Andayani, the moderator of this conference, and Ibu Solihah, the head of the department. And everybody, including Pak Ulil Absor. Ladies and gentlemen, the themes of vulnerability, I think, quite relevant to discuss in this time. We always try to blame something or someone or those who can be blamed if things happen in the world like catastrophe or natural catastrophe or social catastrophe. However, it is very important to take our responsibility as a human being. We indeed responsible for many things happen in this world, including one of the most important issue is a global warming. There are many commentators and critics that global warming is indeed caused by our belief, something that is related to our theology. We, from the perspective of Abrahamic theology, our religious leaders, our interpreters always maintain the role of human being as the leader of the world, or in Arabic, we put it as Khalifa bil Ard. This is, of course, paradoxical and indeed need critical insight. Firstly, in the time of global warming, human being, of course, is responsible for what happened. The increase of the temperature in the world, the rise of the sea level, and the melt of ice in the poles, north and south. Indeed, human being, due to too much use of fossil fuel, and we are responsible. And we should really realize that the balance of this world is indeed vulnerable. On the other hand, we should also realize that a human being has a lot of limitations. And I think we should remind ourselves there are so many boundaries that we cannot cross. Firstly, human being is only living in this earth. If we remember, this earth is only one of 9 or 10 planets in our solar system. And this earth is very tiny compared to other planets, for instance, Saturn. And we think more broadly, our solar system is only one among billions stars in our galaxy, Milky Way galaxy. If we now try to look at some picture of our Milky Way galaxy, we only spot a tiny dot, our sun and the solar system, in the wing of our galaxy Milky Way. If we look at more broadly, to bring our perspective to realize how mighty our universe, even our Milky Way galaxy consisted of billions of stars, billions of star systems or solar systems in the Milky Way. Even Milky Way is also tiny dot in the clusters of galaxy. We call it Lineagia. And is even not significant. We should realize how vulnerable we are. If we study social welfare and social work, even our social system is also vulnerable. And it is also our responsibility to realize that how tiny we are, how small we play in the world, human being still responsible to keep the social system intact. And in the study of social welfare, in the study of social work, there are so many developments from the birth of the social work in 1970s, when the study of post-structuralism and our attention also turned to something that is forgotten, something like our role for marginalized society, for the weak, for the needy. And I think this conference is a very good place to discuss how much progress we make, and on the other hand, also how much damages that we are responsible. If I mentioned earlier that human beings also play a crucial role in damaging our environment for the extinction of some species, be plants or animals, and we human beings also should take responsibility for our system, social system, our relation among human beings, the construction of our society, the relation of our belief, our theology and state, and to what extent we could live one another harmoniously. And Sunan Kalijaga, our campus, I think should play more roles, or I may put it a better role, in connecting what happened in the research, particularly in the social sciences, and what happened to our society, Indonesian society. Our Indonesian society, we should realize, are very committed to religious belief on the one hand, but on the other hand, we also have to catch up the development of science, including social science. Of course, there are some challenges before us, and we should answer this, and we should address more properly in the scholarly work. And at the same time, because the faculty is called Dakwah and Communication, we also have another responsibility to our society, not only about writing our papers, our responsibility to produce scholarly work, but at the same time, how much we can contribute to our society for the improvement of our society, for the betterment of our relation among one another. And indeed, I am very proud of this faculty, the Faculty of Dakwah and Communication. This year and last year, and I wish next year, there are so many conferences involving students, lecturers. I think this is thanks to the leadership of this faculty, to the good organizations of this faculty, and we should be very proud of. And thank you very much, all the committee who present in this room. Andayani, Bu Solihah, Pak Ulil Absor, and Pak Ridho, ya, Pak Arya, and all students who involved in organizing and play important role as a moderator or as MC. Thank you very much. Ibu Dekan, Prof. Emma Marhumah, thank you, and we are very proud of your leadership, and we support you sincerely. And to all students, please, this is good opportunity to learn in this conference, particularly to try your best to understand English and to deliver your opinion in English. It is indeed good opportunity when this happen, and we have to adopt a positive attitude. Thank you very much and congratulations. And I wish once again this conference is productive, having more discussion, and don't forget to broaden your network, to increase the number of your friends. It is very important. Friendship is very important to live in this world for the sake of your career too. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Professor Dr. Bill Almakin, SAGMA, for inspiring speech.
Before we move to the next agenda, we would like to explain the rules of this international webinar today. Firstly, make sure that you use your full name in the Zoom. Secondly, make sure that your microphone is muted in order to not disturb the discussion. Third, you might type your question during the talk from the speakers on the chat functions on your screen. You can use Bahasa Indonesia or English for the questions. Fourth, participants who have disabilities who need sign language, we provide sign language during the webinar by pinning SLI on your screen. Lastly, there are two attendees. The first will be distributed at the beginning of the webinar, and the second will be distributed about the end of the webinar.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is International Webinar on Vulnerability and Social Protection Across the World, Identifying Challenges, Progress, and Lessons Learned. There are 4 distinguished speakers. The first speaker is Professor Hur Mahmud Yücer from Turkey. The second speaker is Professor Nadia Dr. Paramjit Singh Jamil Singh from Malaysia. The third speaker is Dr. Haji Budiana SIP NSC from Indonesia. And the last speaker is Dr. Ibrahim Mubarak Bombo from Cameroon.
The webinar will be moderated by Ms. Andayani MSW, the lecturer at School of Social Work. To Ms. Andayani, time is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you very much for the Master of Ceremony. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to International Webinar on Vulnerability and Social Protection Across the World, Identifying Challenges, Progress, and Lessons Learned. Honorable Rector of UIN Sunan Kalijaga Yogyakarta, Honorable Dean of Faculty of Dakwah and Communication, UIN Sunan Kalijaga Yogyakarta, Distinguished Head of Social Work Department, Faculty of Dakwah and Communication, UIN Sunan Kalijaga Yogyakarta, distinguished panelists from all across the world, dear organizing committee and participants of the webinar. The Social Work Study Program is very grateful today, conducting and having all of you here, in particular the panelists and the participants all over the world, in this very interesting webinar where we can discuss not only the knowledge and experience, but also more importantly is taking the lesson learned. Social protection is often recognized as the first line of defense to protect the poor and vulnerable group in fragile, crisis, difficult, and conflict-affected situation. Social protection is one of the very important issue in social work because it has important roles in reducing inequalities of wealth and for government to provide direct support to affected population. We identify two objectives of this webinar. The first one is to identify the impact of current global crisis, policy and social protections program implemented to protect the poor and vulnerable group in Indonesia, Malaysia, Cameroon, and Turkey. And the second one is to identify the issues and lesson learned from the practice of social protection in Indonesia, Malaysia, Cameroon, and Turkey. We have 4 very resourceful panelists. The first one is Professor Hur Mahmud Yuser. He will be the first panelist. I would like to greet the Professor Hur Mahmud Yuser. Professor Hur Mahmud, are you here with us? Hello? Hello, the operator, can you identify is the professor is here, the Professor Hur Mahmud Yuser?
Hello. Hello. I can
Hi,
hear.
hello.
Hello.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, for your attending. Okay, thank you. And I would like to greet the second panelist, Dr. Ibrahim Mubarak Mbombo. Are you here, Dr. Ibrahim from Cameroon?
Yes, I'm here. I don't know if you get me very well.
Yeah, your voice is very clear and very excited. Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim. The third panelist is Dr. Kunkurat.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Yeah,
Clear here.
ya, terima kasih Dr. Kunkurat.
Ya, sama-sama.
Yeah, the last one will be Professor Madya. Sorry, Associate Professor Dr. Pramjit Singh Jamir Singh from Malaysia.
Yeah, I'm here, Ibu.
Professor Pramjit,
Yes,
can
Ibu.
you speak Indonesia?
Ya, Ibu.
Ya, terima kasih. Thank you. So, each presentation should be around 25 minutes for each of the panelists, and after all presentation, the floor will be open for open discussion and Q&A. However, I would like to, I would like to read the bio or the curriculum vitae of the first panelist, which is Professor Hur Mahmud Yuser. He took his BS in Divinity Faculty Erjum Ataturk University in 1982 until 1988, and he took his Master of Art in Department of Social Sciences with the thesis title is Treatise on Meratibi Fukut, Marmara University, 1994 until 1996. And he took his PhD level in the area of Tasawuf or Sufism from Department of Social Sciences with his dissertation about Sufism in Anatolia during 19th century in the year of 1997 to 2002. And his work experiences is now, he's currently working in University of Health Sciences, Faculty of Social Sciences, and also he is head of the department as the professor from 2018 until present. And he's teaching also at Kabaruk University with the courses History of Sufism, Sufi Texts, Issues of Sufism, and also concepts of law, cultural anthropology, and also his teaching at for MA students in the course of preventive social services, and for PhD students, the courses is related with non-governmental organization in Turkey, Istanbul, Zaim University. So, Professor Hur Mahmud, floor is yours. You have around 25 minutes. Please doing your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I would like to start by thanking the university administration and our responsible academician for who organized symposium at the beginning. I am currently I am currently working in University of Health Sciences as a professor. I am giving lectures in legal concepts, social service legislation, preventive social work, and recently we prepared the book in social sciences titled Turkey's Social Structures. Today, my talk will be about the current and past processes of Turkey on social assistance. As we know, social assistance means public provision for the economic and sometimes social welfare of elderly people, unemployed people, etc. Okay. Okay. Sorry. First of all, I would like to give you an overview of vulnerability and social protection in Turkey. For political and military reasons, the United States and European countries implicitly applied a financial embargo to Turkey, so the country's currency lost value and inflation increased. You know, Turkey is in the process of transition from an agricultural society to an advanced industrial society. One of the 70 countries in the world that is self-sufficient in food. Okay.
Yeah. I apologize. Do you have PPT?
Yes.
Can you share your PPT in share screen, please?
Okay. However, it converts the grain it buys from Ukraine and Russia into pasta and processed food in factories and sells. Sorry. Can hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you very clear, but the PPT, I don't see the PPT.
Okay. I want to.
Do you need help?
Clean. Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
just
my presentation, but. Risk on Turkey. Why the
You open your file first. Yeah. Okay.
Turkey is an interesting case for the world as it has wide spectrum of features. Basically, we are still on the road of transformation of civil society from agricultural society to industrial society. We are one of the 7 countries who is self-sufficient in food, but at the same time, we vastly import processed food like pasta, even though we process the grain and sell it to Europe again. There were many programs run by the Ministry of Family and Social Services during the crisis. their scope was expanded and the amount increased. Few of them is here. For example, for relatives of martyrs and veterans, we can say additional program is here. For women's empowerment and combating violence program, third. For fighting poverty and social assistance, fourth. For employment and social protection for citizens living abroad, program for the protection and development of children, family protection and marriage strengthening program, active aging program, home care support, home care program. Recently, social benefits in the 2021 economic crisis, government is proceed assistance to women whose spouse has passed away, families of soldiers, helping orphans and children of soldiers in need, conditional educational assistance for foreigners, conditional health assistance, maternity assistance, multiple birth assistance, terrorist damage aid. As in the whole world, interesting social support government programs that started due to the economic crisis in the country are as follows. Electricity consumption support launches given now 300.60 million households. Natural gas consumption support countries, 2/3 of all household consumption is subsidized by the state. The other way is helping social housing support for low-income citizens. The state builds houses for citizens. Half of the cost of housing is paid by the state. Half is covered by the state citizens. This program, 250,000 houses will be built for the consumption, whose application continue and which is planned to be completed next year, but 80 million people applied now. After that, a house campaign will be launched for middle-income families and upper income groups. As he did in previous years, he will earn monies, especially from the upper income group, and transfer it to other groups. You know, our country has extended a helping hand to the deprived all over the world by using all the tools of international cooperation and solidarity abroad. They, without discrimination in the fight against the epidemic, it provided emergency and humanitarian assistance to more than 150 countries. Turkey, which hosts the largest number of refugees in the world today, continues to be one of the most generous countries in the world in terms of development and humanitarian assistance relative to its national income. In terms of social work, we have both government and non-governmental organizations that cover social needs for those in need. For non-governmental organizations, religious groups play major role. Religious groups play major role as a traditional and religious knowledge inherits such behaviors. We have also Sufism impact on society, as well as charity actions, as we have tariqas and independent religious charity organization. You know, governmental actions, Tika, Kızılay, Ridmon, Afat, non-governmental actions, religious charities, tariqas, and independent religious groups. Turkish civil aid organization distribute 1 million shares of Kurban around the world in Eid al-Adha 2021. For example, Mesh Foundation distributes around 100,000 sacrificed shares in the Aceh region. There are a lot of non-governmental organizations, Yeryüzü Doktorları, Deniz Feneri, İHA, Diyanet Foundation, Hayrat, Beşir, Azma Mütedai, overseas activities. These non-governmental organizations, more than 15 countries. A few of them 145 countries expenditure aid. The other way, governmental organization, Turkey Cooperation Agency, has been responsible for coordinating our country's international development cooperation activities since its establishment in 1992. Today, it carries out projects in nearly 170 countries worldwide, with 62 offices in 16 countries of the world and approximately 2,000 projects and activities per year. In addition to its official assistance, Turkey also draws attention with the help of the private sector and NGOs, which amounted to more than $818 million. At the same time, the donation of non-governmental organizations worth $400 million show the Turkish state and our national generosity. The direct investment made by the Turkish private sector to develop countries. But in TICA, governmental organization TICA is centering the human between the development and humanitarian assistance. In 2020, total Turkish development assistance was $80 billion, approximately $90 billion, consisting of official flows realized by public institutions. Turkish official development assistance some of them, the largest proportion of Turkish development aid consists of emergencies and humanitarian assistance. The other way, Syrian refugees and asylum seekers benefit the most from bilateral official development assistance. Approximately the governmental most benefit from the official development assistance. Syrian refugees, approximately $10 billion. Albania, $15 million. Iraq, $25 million. Afghanistan, $35 million. Palestine, Somali, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Bosnia Herzegovina, Tunis, Bangladesh, Azerbaijan, North Macedonia. The other way, Turkish official development assistance. You make donation and build a bridge and hospital and school and the other groups. Comparing the development in social assistance, we are the 60th biggest resourcing for social assistance country in the world. Moreover, we are the second largest country as public donor in the world for contributing humanitarian assistance. Based on this idea, assistance is delivered to many parts of the world on behalf of the Turkish people, regardless of religion, language, and race, since the emergency element from the perspective of emergency and humanitarian assistance is taken as the basis. Assistance is delivered primarily to the region where this disaster is experienced. There are a lot of presentation in this screen, but can you hear? Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, yes, we can.
But I can't show that my presentation. Difficulties for me. There are a lot of, but that's sorry. Thank you for listening. Please don't hesitate.
So, Professor Mahmud, are you finished?
And graphic in this my computer, but I can't show you that. Thank you for listening me. Shukran.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Miss Professor Mahmud Yusser, for your presentation. I would like to translate your presentation just briefly, just overview. Can I? Yeah, because some of the audience is from Indonesia. Baik, Bapak Ibu, teman-teman sekalian, tadi kita telah mendengarkan presentasi dari Profesor Mahmud Yusser ya mengenai the evolution of social assistance in Turkey ya. Jadi beliau menerangkan perkembangan bantuan sosial begitu ya di Turki. Yang ingin saya garis bawahi adalah walaupun Turki ini berada dalam era transformasi ya dari agriculture, dari pertanian kepada menuju ke fase industri begitu ya, dan juga dengan berbagai persoalannya pastinya ya, misalnya tadi yang disebutkan di awal, pada satu sisi Turki ini telah pada tingkat tertentu merupakan negara yang telah mencapai swasembada pangan gitu ya, atau self sufficient food, tetapi mungkin sama seperti Indonesia, mereka juga pada beberapa aspek itu masih mengimpor bahan pangan seperti itu. Namun demikian tadi bagaimana Profesor Mahmud Yusser itu menjelaskan banyak sekali model dari social protection ya, atau perlindungan atau bantuan sosial di Turki. Mungkin nanti kita bisa minta PPT-nya ya. Jadi mulai dari misalnya ada family protection, ada conditional assistance of electricity, ada juga subsidi untuk listrik dan segala macam ya. Kemudian ada juga bantuan untuk perempuan yang suaminya meninggal gitu ya, atau bantuan untuk single mother, atau dalam tanda petik janda gitu. Walaupun kata-kata janda mungkin kita kurang ini ya, merasa kurang familiar begitu. Mungkin ke single parent assistant begitu. Nah, kemudian satu hal yang mungkin ingin saya garis bawahi di sini ya. Tadi telah disebutkan walaupun mereka ini berada transisi dari masyarakat agriculture menuju masyarakat industri atau modern, tetapi bisa dikatakan Turki ini adalah most generous country. Jadi negara yang paling dermawan. Mereka berani mengklaim mereka adalah bangsa yang paling dermawan di dunia. Tadi ada statistiknya ya, tapi karena agak kecil dan PPT-nya juga mungkin belum sempat diberikan ke panitia. Saya tadi tidak terlalu memperhatikan sekali karena angka-angkanya sangat banyak, tetapi tadi dibanding dengan negara lain itu yang saya ingat Turki menduduki 23% ya untuk bantuan internasionalnya. Nah, ini sangat menarik. Jadi sekali lagi mereka mengklaim sebagai negara yang paling dermawan di dunia begitu ya, karena telah membantu lebih dari 150 negara di dunia ini, dan juga negara yang paling peduli ya terhadap refugee atau pengungsi dari internasional, dan menjadi negara dengan jumlah pengungsi terbanyak di dunia begitu ya. Ini sangat menarik sekali. Nah, kemudian sama seperti konteks Indonesia, untuk social assistance atau bantuan sosialnya diorganize baik oleh pemerintah maupun non pemerintah ya. Yang dari non pemerintah tadi yang saya tangkap adalah didominasi gitu ya. Sepertinya ada kecenderungan yang non governmental organization itu dilakukan oleh organisasi agama gitu ya, atau berbasis agama yang memang tradisional begitu ya. Kemudian berfokus pada charity atau filantropi begitu ya, atau kayak mungkin seperti di sini tuh apa ya, seperti zakat infak sodakoh begitu kan, tetapi di sisi lain juga ada program-program yang lebih umum ya, seperti untuk lansia seperti itu. Nah, tadi sekali lagi mereka mengklaim bahwa mereka merupakan negara yang sangat dermawan, kemudian dan salah satu indikatornya adalah pada tahun 2004 ya, pencapaian bantuan mereka ke dunia internasional itu 34 million dollar, tetapi pada tahun 2020 menjadi 8.500 million dollar. Nah, itu berapa persen itu ya? Jadi sangat banyak sekali. Baik, Bapak Ibu sekalian, demikian sedikit overview summary dari presentasi dari Profesor Mahmud. Thank you, Profesor Mahmud. So we are going to the second. Yeah, thank you very much. We are going to the second panelist, who is Dr. Ibrahim Mubarak Mbombo. Are you still with us, Dr. Ibrahim?
Yes.
Yeah, so your theme is related with vulnerability and social protection in Cameroon. So without any further ado, yeah. Oh,
Of course.
yeah.
Do you get me very well?
Yeah, I hear you. But can I read? Sorry, I apologize. I almost forgot. Can I read your curriculum vitae first before your presentation?
Yeah. Of
So
course.
if I make mistake reading your curriculum vitae, just correct me, okay?
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So Dr. Mubarak Mbombo Ibrahim, his activity in Cameroon and also overseas. In Cameroon, he is president of Indonesian Unity of Cameroon, based on the President Decree number 92/326, date 13 November 1992, and he is also head of a humanitarian aid organization, and he's also head of Center for Culture and Humanitarian in Cameroon, and the officer or committee for one of the hospital, namely Lebeni, and also the one of the redactor for a journal, Orientasi or Orientation, and he writes a lot of books, and aside from that, he also a head of an organization for Umat, a mosque, and also humanitarian aid, and so on and so forth. You have a lot of activities, and he also participated as a delegation for international unity in terms of interfaith dialogue and also he got a lot of award from overseas for his activities for interfaith dialogue, if I'm not mistaken. So, Dr. Mubarak Bombo Ibrahim, time is yours. Thank you.
Okay, you try to do your best. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
It is an for me, for this opportunity that Indonesia offered to us. And according to what Professor Dr. Ira Al-Makin said before, I was very happy to hear him. Very happy because in this preliminary speech, he brings sociology in different aspects and social culture in different aspects, and it includes the astronomical vision in our context to make the think tank of every one of us to live our real context in different problems that we are watching. So I plead you, dear co-panelists, Madam Moderator, honorable assistants, and all of you who receive me from all over the world, to accept my most fraternal greetings, to which are added those of my country, Cameroon, which is very attached to this kind of meetings or initiatives taken by the Islamic University of Indonesia, and in particular, the faculties of Dawah and Communications that I have to congratulate them, students and teachers, for the effort that they are doing for approach between human mankind and to bring peace and unity in the world. We need it. And so that an initiative to understand how the world works and the dynamics of life across our planet in the context of the ongoing search for solutions to the problems facing our people, wherever they may be. As the world has become a global village, no useful actions can be insulated, and such a meeting can enable people to join hands through the sharing of experiences in the constant search for solutions. I am all the happier to participate, as this meeting gives me the opportunity to talk about my country, Cameroon, a real marvel with a magnificent populations, very resilient in the face of many challenges in the heart of a changing Africa, more aware than ever of these challenges today. This is why I would like to thank the organizers once again for having associated me with this meeting and for the honor done to my country, Cameroon, through my modest person and the several organizations I represent, such as the Islamic Union of Cameroon, the most representative on the ground of Cameroon. In the three Islamic religions association recognized by the presidential decree, as well as the PIA, who is the Islamic Program for Humanitarian Assistance, a real social instrument at the service of the Islamic community of Cameroon and even on the whole country in all its diversity and needs. Likewise, also the SESHUK, with the Humanitarian Cultural Center of Cameroon, promotes culture and science by publishing books that are then distributed free of charge. And let me add that the Cameroon is what we can call the minority Islamic community in majority social non-Islamic community, because the percentage arrived only to 45% of citizens in the country, in the Cameroon. And I would like to stop here without being exhaustive. I am invited to speak on the theme of vulnerability and social protection in Cameroon. What an excellent opportunity to talk about this country, and especially about the realities on the ground and the work on the various actors in a happy synergy of public authorities and private initiative without neglecting the role of the populations themselves, even in the most remote corners, which are leading Cameroon to be amongst the countries in the world that are surely advancing despite the difficulties towards a radiant future, inshallah. The area of social protections in the face of the vulnerability of certain groups that also make up the society. And let me here mention some kind of the context in Africa, that Cameroon is the Central Africa really, but in the middle of many non-instability and many crises, because you have in the Chad, in the north of Cameroon, the Chad is another home country where is many instability. And also in the west, you have the Republic of Central Africa, who also have the problem of democracy and the problem of war inside communities. And you have also the northern Nigeria, also in the east, who have the problem of terrorism with Boko Haram. And in the south, with the Congolese problem that we are hearing every time to the news, that means that the Cameroon is also the country who have his problem to resolve and carry Africa, also the Central Africa in its height to resolve their problem. So that I would like to begin by outlining the plan of my presentation. Firstly, an introduction in which we will try to get to know Cameroon and then identify the concepts of vulnerability and social protection, and then identify the questions that will enable you to take a picture of the situations in the country, the target groups concerned, and the actors involved in formulating responses in terms of social protections of the ground, on the ground. That is why in an introduction, Cameroon is an African country, like I say, located in the southern part of Sahara. It now has a population of nearly 30 million, according to the numerous institutions, national and international journals, while a long-awaited new population census in the country is expected. Cameroon's population is mostly young. However, the country is amongst those in sub-Sahara Africa that are currently experiences gerontoground dynamics. According to the United Nations estimated published in 2015, the numbers of people aged 60 and over is also expected to triple in the country from 1.13 million in 2015 to about 3.93 million by 2050. Cameroon is a myriad of tribes and languages, which makes up its richest and diversity. Religions live there and accept each other's with a legendary tolerance, which makes in special Islam, Christianity, traditional religions, in some places, and philosophical currents live together without any difficulty. Cameroon gained in independence in 1960. It is administratively divided today into 10 regions, 2 of which unfortunately are experiencing some insecurity due to a so-called separatist crisis. Are you getting me very well?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay.
We get it very well. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. So that I want to say that it is administratively divided today into 10 regions, 2 of which, unfortunately, are experiencing some insecurity due to a so-called separatist crisis. We daily condemn it because the country is very attached to the unity of its people. Peace is regained day by day in these 2 regions, thanks to the intense work that the government and religious people is carrying out of a daily basis, and the very actions of the populations who are anxious to live and preserve peace for the most part. The country has also experienced another crisis, that's of Boko Haram in the northern regions, with a terrorism movement coming from the northern Nigeria, which are predominantly Muslim and Nigeria borders, Cameroon's neighbor and the epicenter of this phenomenon. Here against the war carried out by the Cameroonian government has paid off, and today has saved this part of the country from serious insecurity and other threats of the population. The country's economic is essentially based on agriculture, the development of which, despite some progress, is experiencing difficulties as in many countries on the continent. Although it is the locomotive of the Central Africa sub-region, poverty is still present in many areas with an impact of full and satisfactory access to certain basic services. Youth unemployment has elsewhere, women's care, children, and the elderly, among others, are amongst the priorities of public policy in the country. Such presentations undoubtedly leads us to see and understand that certain people of social groups are necessary for a situations of vulnerability, situations to which response are provided or efforts made on a daily basis by the government, assisted by donors, NGOs, which is non-government organizations, associated and Israel. But what it exactly is vulnerability? Without going into too many specialized considerations, I would like to make it very simple and say from the outset of that the concept of vulnerability has continued to evolve and take on new meanings throughout history and across disciplines. Here, we will limit ourselves to its simplest understanding applied to the dynamics of pupils' life. Their exposure to certain plagues, their ability to defend themselves or not, and to solve their vital problems themselves. From the Latin word vulnus or vulneris is the wound, and vulnerable to wound. The vulnerable is, according to the Larousse dictionary, one who can be wounded, struck, easily hit, who defends himself badly or is unable to defend himself well. If we can extend the understanding, vulnerability can then refer to the state of situations out of a human being or a group of category of being unable to defend on self alone the ability to be dependent, to weight of society for on a reason of for or another. Vulnerability is a text as mentioned in the Quran. Surah, we shall text you with some things of fear, hunger, loss of the wealth, and diminutions of property, people, and crops. That is the Quran, chapter 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, and Ayah, verse 155. And how is the issue posed in Cameroon from this angle? In other words, what is the situation in Cameroon, and how is the response organized to the ground? What are the difficulties encountered, the challenge to be met, etc.? Firstly, current situation, vulnerability is a serious issue in Cameroon, as is it in many other African countries that face difficulties of various levels. The problems of threats to peace that we have highlighted about have added to the list of people in vulnerable situations. In general, vulnerable groups are, as elsewhere, children, adolescents, women, and early victims of disasters, of those who migrated due to the insecurities of terrorism and violence, people suffering from certain diseases. Thus, it will be noted that these target groups in particular face many difficulties which the authorities are addressing as a matter of priority. Secondly, the response of the groups. The Cameroonian state has made social protections a fundamental issue. This is constitutional. That's it, and surgery in the fundamental law. The social protections of the elderly and other vulnerable groups has made a requirement of national solidarity. The nation should protect women, the youth, the disabled, and the elderly. Cameroonian social law also includes a set of texts organizing the social protection of elderly person and entry to the retirement. Notability, you have the law number 69 LP of the 10th November 1969, instituting the insurance scheme for all age, disability, and death pensions, amended by law number 84007 of the 4 July 1984, of decree number 77/495 of the 7 October 1949 on the general status of the civil service, which organizes the system of state pension paid to retired public employers. Finally, thanks to law number 90/53 of the 19 December 1990 on freedom of associations in Cameroon, and law number 99/040 on the 22 December 1999 governing NGOs, non-government organizations, many associations, and non-governments for the protections and the defense of the rights of the elderly have been created. So the public authorities have those defended an institutional and organized framework that makes it possible to be define the problem, but also they mobilize the resources necessary for the implementations of the various policies in this area. Furthermore, with the support of non-governmental or para-governmental organizations, there is a vast deployment of various actors who contribute to the assistance and well-being of people in distress. This is where, for example, our permanent action within the Islamic Union of Cameroon, the Islamic Program for Humanitarian Assistance, the Beni Hospital, etc., come in. to better understand that action and interaction, it is appropriate to first present the institutional architecture that frame assistance, and then to present the actors involved in this major project. You get me very well?
Yeah, we get you very well.
Okay.
But, excuse me, can you make your presentation shorter a little bit because the time?
Okay. I think that I will have in 25 minutes. I get.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Okay. Sorry. Thank you.
So there is an government action. In this Regalian mission, the Cameroon state has made social protections on one of its top priorities. This was done through the creations of ministerial department dedicated to this subject. This is the case, amongst others, of the Ministry of Social Affairs, which specifies directorate for certain social groups, such as the elderly of children, the Ministry of the Promotions of Women and the Family, the Ministry of Territorial Administrations, and the Ministry of Public Health. These ministries are responsible for implementing government policy on assistance, among others, the poor. On the Ministry of Social Affairs, according to the Decree 2011/409 of the 9 December 2011, on the organizations of the government, the Ministry of Social Affairs is responsible for the elaboration and implementation of the government's policies on the prevention, assistance, and protections of social vulnerability persons. In this capacity, it is responsible for the prevention and treatment of juvenile delinquencies and social inadjustment in the floor, fighting social exclusion in conjunction with the relevant ministry, the fight against human trafficking, particularly in minor, in conjunction with the administrator concerned, the protections of victims and physical abuse, that's in the ground also, monitoring procedures for the protection of children in difficulties in liaison with the ministry department concerned, monitoring and those protection with on human trafficking in binding with the administrations concerned. So this a list that I can go to the end of what the social ministry have to do, are making, not have to do, are making in the ground, and you can watch it directly when you are in Cameroon, seriously. And you have also the territorial administration, Ministry of Territorial Administration, also is responsible for the elaboration and implementations of the government policy on territorial administrations, civil protections, and the monitoring of electoral issues. In this capacity, it is responsible for B, in the field of civil protection, the development, implementation, and monitoring of regulations and standards for the preventions and management of risk and natural disasters in the relations with the other administrations concerned, the coordinations of national and international actions in the events of a natural disaster. The ministry, through the Directorate of Civil Protection, is deployed in several regions of Cameroon to take care of people victims of natural disasters, but also internally displaced persons in the context of the security crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of floods and the horrors of Boko Haram movement terrorism in the far north of Cameroon. According to the Minister of Territorial Administrations, Paul Atangaji, the Cameroonian governments have already taken care of nearly 130,000 internally displaced persons who ran away from the fighting between the regular army and the Anglophone separatists in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. According to statistics revealed by the MINAT, the Ministry of Administrative Territorial, in the government daily Cameroon grandstand, there are still about 22,000 people to be taken care of, has 152,000 internally displaced persons have been counted so far. These care operations are being carried out within the framework of the emergency humanitarian assistance plan launched by the Cameroonian government on the 20 June 2018, after the adding of pro-independence claims in 2 English-speaking regions of the country. This assistance plan has budget of about 12 billion francs CFA. Apart from the government support, the President of the Republic hardly raised toward vulnerable groups victims of natural disasters and terrorism violence. Equally, his wife created a foundation named Foundation Chantal Biya, available to assist the vulnerable. The contributions of private actors, international and national organizations move towards vulnerable people, bringing them a different form of assistance, which is the case of the Islamic program for humanitarian assistance, which equally assists widows and orphans, and let their hospital available for the victims of terrorism acts and violence in the north, southwest, and the far north region. Religious association, the case of the Islamic Union of Cameroon, works in the promotions of peace, culture, of love, and help of one another. It equally replies to different calls from the government in the fight against epidemics and well-being in Cameroon. The Islamic Union of Cameroon implicated religious leaders to work for social relationship, for peace without another, without religious or ethnic distinction. Its actions have been noticed during the COVID-19 support to the government and by assisting the public. So we arrive to the end with the challenges, the rise of organization crime among youth people, and the unbridled use of drugs in this environment, which is flourishing in the country, and which also leads to the rise violence, subject of concern of show that much remains to be done to supervise this target group. For instance, there are many examples. It cannot be ruled out that despite the presence of this multitude of actors in the field of social protections in the country, there is still a long way to go. A real social policy that can help people in vulnerable situations, such as the elderly, who are most often inactive and highly exposed to disease, and on one families still rely, should make it possible to make progress. The supervision of children, particularly strict children and youth girls who drops out of school very quickly, in some areas remain a major challenge. Of course, it may take enormous resources to achieve this. The means to build receptions, training and retraining centers, schools, health care, and support in case of substances difficulties, the multiple economic crises, coupled with the coronavirus health crisis, has greatly slowed down the possibilities for state and even private intervention. That is what we can also only read a moment what God say in the Quran to end my speech, to chapter 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, Al-Ayah 177. The pure goodness is not to turn your face toward the east or the west. Goodness is to believe in Allah, the last day, to angels, to books, and the prophets, to give of one's wealth, however much one love it, to the relatives, the orphans, the needy, the indigent travelers, and those who ask for help, and they unite works to perform as salat prayers and to pay as zakat, and those who will filter their community when they have committed themselves, and those who endure in hardship and sickness and in battle, they are the truthful and they are the truth pious. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for understanding me.
Thank you very much for Dr. Ibrahim Bombo for your very comprehensive presentation. I would like to make the summary for Indonesian audiences. Baik, Bapak Ibu, teman-teman sekalian, Dr. Ibrahim Bombo tadi sudah banyak memberikan pemahaman ya, dimulai dari konteks negara Kamerun ya, di mana Kamerun itu berada di selatan Afrika ya, yang dimana kita tahu Kamerun itu memiliki berbagai macam tantangan ya secara politik, terutama ya instabilitas politik, kemudian juga di sana banyak terjadi krisis begitu ya, dan masih banyak terdapat masih banyak terjadi berbagai permasalahan sosial yang serius ya, diantaranya kemiskinan, dan juga dikelilingi oleh negara-negara lain yang memiliki instabilitas politik maupun konflik di sekitar negara Kamerun. Nah, yang pertama ya, setelah memberikan latar belakang negara Kamerun, Dr. Ibrahim Bombo memberikan konsep mengenai kerentanan. Apa itu kerentanan gitu ya? Beliau mengatakan bahwa kerentanan itu adalah definisinya adalah orang yang gampang terkena dampak begitu ya dari sebuah permasalahan sosial. Namun demikian mereka tidak bisa membela diri sendiri begitu ya, dependen atau tergantung kepada orang lain, dan khususnya tergantung kepada society ya atau masyarakat. Nah, di sini beliau juga mengingatkan akan surat Al-Baqarah ya ayat 155, di mana memang Allah akan memberikan ujian ya kepada manusia itu, ketakutan, kelaparan, kemudian kemiskinan dan lain sebagainya. Jadi ini merupakan komitmen dari negara Kamerun memang untuk menuntaskan permasalahan-permasalahan sosial. Nah, untuk penduduk negara Kamerun itu berjumlah 30 juta ya, di mana sebagian besarnya adalah anak muda begitu, walaupun untuk beberapa daerah begitu ya, mereka juga mengalami dinamika aging population ya, di mana mereka juga akan mengalami ledakan lansia yang akan menjadi 3 kali lipat di tahun 2050. Nah, untuk negara Kamerun mereka memiliki banyak suku bangsa, bahasa begitu ya, kemudian berbagai agama, di antaranya Islam, Kristen, dan traditional religion gitu ya. Merdeka tahun 1960, saat selain instabilitas politik, mereka juga mengalami beberapa isu di beberapa daerah terkait dengan separatisme ya, atau gerakan yang ingin melepaskan diri dari Kamerun. Nah, ini tantangannya. Kemudian konteks yang juga diberikan tadi mengenai daerah negara Kamerun itu, mereka berdasarkan mayoritas pada ekonominya itu berdasarkan pertanian ya, berbasis pertanian, kemudian di mana banyak sekali kemiskinan di berbagai area di sana, kemudian pengangguran dan juga masalah sosial lainnya ya, sehingga mereka memprioritaskan pada orang-orang yang sangat terdampak, di antaranya perempuan, anak-anak, dan lansia seperti itu. Nah, untuk bagaimana respon pemerintah ya, ini yang tadi di slide yang hampir di akhir-akhir ya, ada tiga kementerian ya yang dibentuk untuk merespon isu-isu sosial tersebut. Jadi yang pertama itu Kementerian Sosial, yang kedua Kementerian Administrasi Teritorial, Yang ketiga itu Kementerian Perempuan dan Keluarga, begitu ya. Nah, apa tantangan? Oke, tantangan yang dihadapi oleh Kamerun saat ini adalah adanya kaum muda ya yang mereka itu melakukan organized crime ya atau kriminal yang terorganisir, kemudian juga masalah kemiskinan tadi ya. Baik, itulah yang bisa saya sampaikan untuk presentasi dari Ibrahim Bombo. Intinya mereka memiliki undang-undang ya yang merespon mengenai social protection dan kerentanan tadi, kemudian memiliki kementerian gitu ya. Ada 3 kementerian dan banyak melakukan aksi-aksi atau praktik-praktik social protection yang dilakukan baik oleh government maupun non-government ya. Dan penekanannya adalah yang dilakukan, dicontohkan tadi adalah dari Islamic organization. Ya. Thank you very much again, Dr. Ibrahim Bombo. We are going to the next presentation, who is Associate Professor Dr. Paramjit Singh Jamir Singh. Are you with us?
Hi, Ibu Moderator. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I will share my PowerPoint, Ibu.
Yeah. Please do your presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Can you see my PowerPoint?
We see. Not yet, sorry.
Oh, chat, wait.
Can I please reading your curriculum video?
Yeah, sure.
First?
Can. Yeah, can.
Yeah. Paramjit Singh Jamir Singh. He is an associate professor and the deputy dean of research, innovation and industry community engagement in the School of Social Sciences in the University Science Malaysia. His research interest focus on HIV and AIDS, drug addictions, harm reduction, criminal justice, mental health, and social work with families. He was recently appointed by the minister in the Prime Minister's Department to serve as an advisor to the magistrate court judge, providing recommendations related to the sentencing and welfare of juvenile offenders. He has also been appointed by the Minister of Women, Family and Community Development to serve as a chairman for the Penang Child Welfare Task Force to enhance the social functioning and well-being of the marginalized children. He was also a consultant for the National Anti-Drug Agency in enhancing drug treatment and rehabilitation. He has been a guest speaker at numerous government agencies, schools, colleagues, as well as the private sectors and NGOs. His talk is mainly on the awareness and prevention of HIV/AIDS and drug addiction in Malaysia. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah, to present. Yeah, thank you. So, please doing your presentation.
Can you see my PowerPoint, Ibu?
Yeah, we see the folder.
You see the folder only, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Have you opened your file?
Yeah, open already. Wait.
Maybe still ongoing process, yeah, loading.
Still loading. Hold on, Ibu. For Ibu, maybe you can share my PowerPoint from your end.
Yeah. Mhm. So can one of the operator open the PPT for the Malaysia speaker? Oh, you haven't sent your PPT. Is that right?
I sent already, email already.
Oh, you email?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we will check the email.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you wait, please?
Sure. Can.
Okay. So, yeah, you sent to our email, right? Prodi
Sent
IKS,
to
yeah.
Pak Ulil.
Oh, Pak Ulil, you sent to Pak Ulil. Okay.
Yeah.
Pak Ulil is here, so it will be okay.
Okay. Still cannot see my PowerPoint.
Yeah, not yet.
Wait, hold on. I
Yeah,
try.
because of the signal.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Pak Ulil is opening your email, so hopefully it won't be taking too long. We apologize, yeah.
No worries.
Yeah, can you close your share screen, please?
Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Can you see your PPTs?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one better. I can't see that. Oh. Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. Excuse me, Ibu. The PowerPoint is missing.
It disappeared. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. We will share the screen again.
Okay. Okay. Is it okay? I can see now.
Yeah, we can see now. Please go ahead.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of the speaker at the international webinar organized by Faculty of Dakwah and Communication, Sunan Kalijaga State Islamic University, Indonesia. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate this invitation. Today, I'm going to share about social services in Malaysia, helping professional perspective. Today, I'm going to talk about helping professional perspective based on the social services in Malaysia, because social services is very and pretty much related to social security. So I will go through one by one. What are the social services available in Malaysia? Next slide, please. Okay, as an introduction, what is social services? Social services is a range of services provided by government, by private sector and non-profit organizations for the general public and population. On the other words, I would say that whatever social services that the government formulate, it must based on the client's needs. Because why? Because social services is pretty much related to social security. I missed the PowerPoint. Okay, because social services is pretty much related to the social security, and in my personal opinion, it doesn't matter how good are the social services that provided by several parties, such as public sector, government sector, such as public sector, private sector, and non-profit organization. It must be based on the people's needs. A good governance will take into consideration of all these needs before they formulate social services, because social services is kind of very important elements, is kind of very important policy that it will affect the public or the people in a certain country. Because when we talk about social policy, some social services is not so in line with the needs of the people. So before we want to plan, we want to come up with any social policy, it will be good we use bottom-up approach to ensure that that particular social policies really give impact to that particular people or to that particular groups. Social services include basic needs and facilities such as food subsidies, education, healthcare, housing, public safety, and social security. Because all these elements is under one roof of social services. Okay, people tend to talk about social protection. Yeah, social protection is very wide. Social protection is very wide. They have the same objective, and they have the same aim, which is to enhance people's ability and enhance people's security, and also to make sure that whatever services that been provided either by the government, by the public sector, by the non-government organization, it must reflect and it must give a significant positive impact to that receiver or to that particular clients. So social services aim to provide social care for better social equality and build stronger communities and nation. Because I always believe that a country's, in any country, whatever services, whatever allocation, so it must be equally distributed, regardless of their background, regardless of their gender, to achieve a good, when we provide the services, so that particular services can be measured by the satisfaction of the people who receive the social services. That's why I said it must be equally formulated and it must be equally distributed. Yeah. So this is very important when we talk about social services. And I always believe that, every country and each of the country in this world, they tend to have, or they want to provide a good social service. And they want to provide a good social services to the people of that particular country. So as I mentioned earlier, so they need to take into consideration of all these elements before they implement that particular social services. Next slide, please. Okay, social services in Malaysia can be based on government intervention, private sectors, we are corporate social responsibility, supplementary role in ad hoc manner, and non-governmental organizations through volunteerism. So government intervention, so basically government intervention is based on the policy, on certain policy that has been discussed and debated in the parliament before it can be implemented to the grassroots or to the particular receiver. So when we talk about government intervention, it might take a longer time because any social services must go through, must be debated, go through certain level before they got approval, right? Before they get approval, so it will take quite, sometimes it will take like longer time, but don't worry. So in Malaysia, we have private sectors and NGO to support the government intervention, because private sector and NGO, whatever whatever assistance that they want to provide, they just need approval within that particular agency. So their policy, whatever policy that they want to make regarding the social services, no need to go through several levels. So So you can see that the uniqueness of Malaysia is, we have private sector and non-governmental organization to support the government intervention. And most of the government intervention in Malaysia, we take into consideration of people's needs. This is very important. For instance, like in Australia, they have a body so-called to monitor all these institutions, including the government institution, public sector, private sector, NGOs, to make sure that that particular policy regarding the social services is being delivered to that particular target groups. This is very important. Check and balance is very important. No point of having a specific so-called like a universal social services, but it doesn't reach to that particular group. This is not good, and this address should be issued here, should be looked into to ensure that all the social services regarding like or related to social protection must be well equipped and must be well managed to ensure that the benefit and the benefit of the social services can be utilized fully by the people who receive the social services. Next slide, please. Okay, government services, government social services, for instance, like Department of Social Welfare, Ministry of Women, Family and Community Engagement, they deal with poverty issues, abuse and neglect, juvenile, probation, homeless, elderly, childcare services, economic assistance. So this particular ministry will look into all these matters, okay, like poverty. So they have certain allocation to help the poverty via monthly allowances, and they also assist the neglect like people who don't have house, people who don't have food and so on. Yeah, so they also will get benefit from this ministry. Like for instance, like homeless, some of them, they they physically they look good, physically they are good, but because due to some reason they can't find a proper job and end up they will become homeless. And the ministry, the Department of Social Welfare, they are so keen to help this population by providing a specific center for them to live. And at the same time, they will empower them. In social work practice, we don't provide things, or we don't provide some things that at the end of the day, that particular client, they don't being empowered. This is so-called like, we just give them the whatever benefits from the social services, but at the end of the day, they are not benefited. Because why? At the end of the day, they will still become homeless. So whatever social services that we plan, we must empower them. Okay, teach them how to get a job, identify their strength, then only we can come up with a proper intervention to help them. So this is the whole idea of the social services in Malaysia. So Ministry of Education, so they provide educational issues. They look into educational issues, assistance, and also the fees subsidies for those who can't afford to pay their tuition fees, for those who can't afford to pay their school fees. The Ministry of Education, they have a special allocation to help them. So at the end of the day, everyone can benefit from the education provided by the government of Malaysia. So none of them will left behind. So this is very important. So whatever social services that we want to provide, we must make sure that it is equally given or distributed. So Ministry of Health will look into health costs and health subsidies. For instance, like, for those who want to get or seek health services from government hospital, so they will be charged, but with a very minimum fee if compared to private hospital. Ministry of Housing and Local Government, housing is very important in Malaysia, and according to theory of Maslow, the basic needs to be fulfilled. One of the basic needs is housing. So housing is very important. That's why the government has provided various affordable housing and subsidies for those who can afford to buy house. You can see that the Malaysian government is very, for me, is very kind enough to look into every single aspect of Malaysian who do not, who you know, who do not have the ability, who can't afford to buy house, so they will provide subsidies. No, so that the ultimate aim of this program is to make sure that all of Malaysian citizens, they can own their own house. This is the ultimate aim. Okay, next, down a bit, sir. Down a bit, scroll down. Okay, for government social services, for instance, like Department of Social Welfare, Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development, they are the frontline service providers in the country. So they're known as a frontline service providers in the country because they are the first one who will go on the ground to help the people who are in needs. For instance, like during COVID-19 pandemic in Malaysia, beside Ministry of Health, the Department of Social Welfare has played a vital role in helping people who are affected with COVID-19. For instance, most of them, they lost their job. So what did the Department of Social Welfare did is they provide certain financial assistance to ensure the clients or those who lost their job can survive, because because during COVID-19 pandemic, so the country has been locked down for a certain time. So most of them, they lost their job. They need money to buy like basic needs and so on. So that's where the social services came in. The government, through the Department of Social Welfare, look into this matter to help the particular group so that they can carry on with their life and they can fulfill their basic needs and provide. The Department of Social Welfare also provide direct services. Direct services means they will go out and reach the particular client, because they're in social work practice. Most of us will practice direct services, okay? Because social work practice is an evidence-based practice. So we need to go and see the clients to find out what is his or her problem. Then we can draw or come up with a certain intervention. Bear in mind that particular intervention must be based on the client needs. This is very important. When we provide direct services through intervention, so we must really make sure that whatever services, whatever social security that we want to provide to that particular client must based on their needs. We cannot simply plan for them. We cannot simply come up with a particular intervention that doesn't in line with their needs. Yeah. So referral to other services. Referral to other services means in social work practice, we also use integrated approach. Integrated approach means we don't work within one agency, but we work within several agencies to ensure that our client get the best help. For instance, like when we provide help or intervention to a former COVID-19 patient, so he or she might tell us she has been discriminated or he has been discriminated after being diagnosed as a COVID-19 patient. This is a true story. Yeah, this is a true story. This client said he has been discriminated because people don't want to talk to him. People look down at him and so on because he has been infected by COVID. Yeah, earlier, if someone has been infected by COVID, that particular person, the community especially, they are very worried to deal with that person. So in that case, you know, when they have been referred to Department of Social Welfare, of course, yeah, their emotion is not stable and so on, right? So what we did was we refer that particular client to a psychiatric. You can see how social work works within the agency, because some of the expertise might, you know, we don't have some of the expertise in a particular agency, but we have the expertise in different agency. That's why as a social worker, we need to work within the agency and we need to practice integrated approach so that our client can get the best help to the maximum level. Okay, and major employer in helping professional, Department of Social Welfare is one of the major employer of helping professionals in Malaysia. Next slide. Okay, helping professional. Okay, who are the helping professionals? Those who provide direct services for the needy population. Yeah, so those who provide direct services can be in the form of working with individuals, working with families, working with groups, and working with the community. Doctors, nurses, psychiatrists, counselors, and social workers are part of the helping professionals in Malaysia. Okay, the reason that, you know, I highlight this helping professional, because these helping professionals is very related, is very significant to social protection. Because why? Because sometimes this particular client, they don't get, they're supposed to get whatever benefits or social services related to social protection, but some of them, they have been discriminated. Some of them, they don't know how to benefit from that particular social services and so on. That's where is doctors, nurses, psychiatrists, counselors, and social workers, and many more helping professionals are here to help them, to guide them, to make sure that they really benefit from the social services provided either by government, NGO, or private sectors. The aim is to assist people according to their expertise. So each of the helping profession, each of them, they have they have the specific expertise. So that's why I always think that when we provide intervention, we must work with a various agency. We can work within the agency, but the, you know, whatever intervention that we provide to the client might be limited. Yeah, might be limited, because we, you know, in one particular agencies, I don't see that they have various expertise. So it'll be good when we talk about social protection, social services, you know, whatever assistance that has been provided by the government. So we have to look into the broader aspect lah, yeah, into the broader aspect, so that, you know, every individual in the society will be benefit from that program. Next slide, please. Okay, helping professionals, for instance, like doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, and nurses. So the majority are employed by the Ministry of Health, provide private health and private healthcare settings. Okay, they are gazetted position as they are regarded as professionals. Okay, they are, you know, all of them are gazetted position because they are professional. So for those who don't have a qualified certificate or qualified to be in a professional profession, such as doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, and nurses, so they are not allowed to give or provide intervention to the particular groups. Okay, next. Okay, helping professionals, for instance, like counselors and social workers, the majority are unemployed by the department. The majority are employed by the Department of Social Welfare. For instance, counselors, there's a gazetted position in the social services agencies, also employed under the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health as a medical social worker. And for social workers, there's no gazetted position as yet. So most of the roles are carried out by the social welfare officers or assistant social welfare department. Yeah. So why? Because in Malaysia we are in the middle of getting social work profession to be gazetted lah, yeah, to be gazetted, and social work act is still in the process. Once the social work act has been legalized, has been gazetted, so all the social workers in Malaysia, right, all the social workers in Malaysia will be gazetted, and they will be part of the professional helping profession. Okay, other than social welfare officers, like social workers also are among of volunteer workers in NGOs, and in the act it will also help all these volunteer workers in NGOs who has years of experience. We can recognize them as a social worker, but it depends on the years of experience that they have. Okay, in Malaysia we are towards that. Yeah, very soon, I hope, God willing, yeah, towards that. And in future, perhaps we might have social work act, so it will strengthen the profession in order to provide a better and a proper intervention to the target groups. Because nowadays in Malaysia, just to share with all of you, some of them, they are not social workers, but they claim themselves as a social workers. Want to be a social worker, you need to have a formal education on social work. Yeah, you need to have a formal education in social work. At least you need to have a diploma, you need to have a degree, master or PhD. And those who don't have all these qualification that I mentioned just now, so they are not a qualified social workers, and yet they call themselves as a social workers. Okay, this is some issues contradicting with the profession. Yeah, because social workers or social work is a professional profession based on values. We must have knowledge, and we must have a specific skills in order to help our clients. Okay, just a brief introduction why social workers in Malaysia and for non-social workers, these are some issues that we need to look into, and I'm pretty sure that when the act exists, so this issue can be addressed. Next, please. Okay, the current state in Malaysia, there is still limited of professionals counselors. However, there's a Counselors Act to allow the employment of more trained or professional counselors. For counselors, yes, don't misunderstand. Counselors and social worker are two different professions, and we can't say counselor and social worker are the same. Yes, of course, the same, but our ultimate aim is to help our client to reduce their stress, to reduce their emotion problems and so on. But at the same time, we have some differences among social workers and counselors. But counselors, they are gazetted and they have their own specific act if compared to social worker. So there is also limited number of professional social workers in the country. However, there is no act or policy that allow the employment of trained or professional social workers. This is what I had mentioned earlier. So basically, I think this can be addressed very soon now, yeah, after we have the Social Work Act. Next, please. Okay, in Malaysia, there's an increase of social problems that require intervention from the trained social workers. As I mentioned just now, as a social workers, we must have a specific knowledge. We must hold on the value, and we must have a specific skills in order to help our client during the intervention. So we cannot simply provide intervention. We cannot simply provide intervention like, to our clients without having all these proper skills. How I relate these issues with social services and social protection, because when we want to provide a good social protection or social services to our client, so we ourselves, we need to have a proper knowledge. We must have a proper understanding what is the social protection about, what is the social services about. So we need to understand that in order for us to give a good information or supply a good information to our client. Without having that particular information, so we might lose, we might lose, and maybe it will affect the direction of that particular intervention. So as I said, as a good social workers, so we need to really understand each of the term of social protection. And social protection, as I mentioned earlier, is very related to social services. Now, from this social protection, it will be divided into several social services, right? So you need to understand. Let's say your client asks you, go, he is from the poor family and he need financial assistance. So you need to identify which agency that provide financial aids, right? Financial aid is very important, or financial support. So then only you can refer that particular client to that agency. Without knowing all the social policy, social protection, and so on, the programs under the social protection, it is impossible for you to help your client. That's why I said you need to have a specific knowledge. Yeah, as social problems are now becoming more challenging, there is a great need for more competent social workers. This is, of course, yeah, we need more competent social workers to address all these issues and problems. Social workers able to provide more effective intervention in order to ensure society's well-being. This is very important. You must make sure that their well-being, they can achieve the maximum level of their well-being. This is very important. If let's say their well-being is affected, so it will affect the overall functioning of that clients. So today I try to I've presented social services in Malaysia, and I also had touched a bit on social worker roles in order to address certain issues related to social services and social protection. Next slide, please. Okay, immediate intervention. There's a great need to recognize the social work profession in the country. Okay, so in US, Australia, in UK, social work profession is being highly respected and recognized. Okay, how to recognize it is to come up with Social Workers Act. There only people will recognize the social work profession, right? Currently still pushing for the draft bill in order to finalize the profession in line with other helping professionals, right? So basically, I try to give a brief summary on whatever I've been shared with you just now. Like several institutions have provided a range of social services and schemes to that particular clients. But in order to make sure that the services and the whatever program under social protection is being delivered to the target group, it is very important to have a body to monitor that particular institution. So this is my personal opinion. This is very important, because without a proper monitoring, so it will sometimes, the target groups, the needy populations, who's supposed to receive that particular assistance, but they don't receive it due to some limitation or barriers. So a body must be formed lah, yeah, and a body must be formed by the government to look into this matter. When I read certain literature regarding social protection in Australia, because in Australia they have a special body to monitor all the social protection programs in Australia to ensure that all who are eligible to get the social protection, to ensure that all of them who are eligible to get or to be benefit from the social protection program, they are being benefit. And another thing is to make sure that they are not to make sure that there are no redundant, no redundant in terms of services provided by institution A, institution B, ministry A, ministry B, ministry C. You can see that it is it's a very good monitoring system for me. We can ensure the client can get up to the max. Okay. Next, please. I think this is the slide. Okay, thank you so much. That's all.
Thank you very much, Associate Professor Paramjit Singh Jamir Singh, for your very resourceful presentation. Saya ingin menerjemahkan dalam bahasa Indonesia ya, summary-nya. Jadi Bapak Ibu, teman-teman sekalian, beliau tadi mempresentasikan ya bagaimana social services dan social protection itu sangat dekat kaitannya begitu ya. Dan yang ingin digarisbawahi adalah social protection atau social services harus diberikan betul-betul berdasarkan pada kebutuhan dari klien ya. Dan itu berarti seorang pekerja sosial maupun aktor-aktor yang terlibat betul-betul harus memakai pendekatan bottom up. Kemudian juga beliau menggarisbawahi pentingnya sebuah seperti badan pengawas ya. Jadi beliau mengambil lesson learn dari Australia. Bagaimana di Australia itu tadi yang saya tangkap ada sebuah badan pengawas yang menentukan ya bagaimana bantuan itu bisa didistribusikan, siapa yang eligible, siapa yang memenuhi kriteria, kemudian bagaimana bantuan itu apakah betul-betul sesuai dengan target grup atau tidak ya kebutuhannya, dan jangan sampai bantuan sosial yang diberikan kepada masyarakat itu redundant ya. Redundant itu maksudnya sekelompok orang menerima bantuan yang double ya. Jadi ada yang kebagian double, tapi ada juga yang mungkin tidak kebagian sama sekali. Nah, seperti itu. Kemudian yang tadi menarik juga yang disampaikan, ada beberapa kementerian yang terkait dengan social security maupun social services, social protection, yaitu Kementerian yang pertama pastinya Department of Social Welfare ya, yaitu Departemen Kesejahteraan Sosial, kemudian yang jadi satu dengan Kementerian Perempuan dan Kesejahteraan Perempuan dan Kesejahteraan Keluarga dan Community Development. Yang kedua Kementerian Pendidikan, kemudian Kementerian Kesehatan, ada juga Kementerian Perumahan dan Pemerintahan Lokal. Yang terakhir adalah Kementerian Pengembangan Pedesaan seperti itu. Nah, yang digarisbawahi juga oleh beliau adalah pekerja sosial atau pekerjaan sosial adalah profesi pertolongan ya, profesi pertolongan yang memberikan pertolongan langsung kepada masyarakat atau klien yang membutuhkan. Kemudian yang intinya adalah mereka itu menggunakan professional expertise-nya ya untuk memberikan bantuan tersebut. Nah, namun demikian bukan hanya pekerja sosial ya, ada juga profesional pertolongan lain yaitu dokter, psikiater, kemudian juga ada psikolog dan juga nurse atau perawat ya. Nah, di sini beliau menekankan bahwa yang namanya pekerja sosial adalah merupakan garda terdepan ya dari semua semua profesi pertolongan ini ya, yang memberikan pelayanan langsung maupun juga memberikan rujukan kepada layanan-layanan lainnya. Nah, pentingnya pekerja sosial ini juga mereka akan menjadi leader di dalam pemberian layanan tersebut. Nah, ini sangat menarik sekali. Nah, namun demikian yang beliau sampaikan sebenarnya Malaysia itu sedang berjuang untuk membuat undang-undang pekerjaan sosial ya, Social Work Act itu lagi di dalam proses legislasi di dalam parlemen mereka, sehingga ada beberapa isu yang memang harus dipecahkan begitu ya. Karena memang selama ini kalau tadi saya tidak salah tangkap ya, jadi mungkin seperti kita beberapa tahun yang lalu ya, di mana pekerja sosial profesional itu seolah-olah kurang begitu diakui ya sebagai profesi. Belum profesi yang established seperti dokter, kemudian apalagi dokter, perawat, kemudian apalagi psikiater, psikolog. Jadi pekerja sosial itu belum terlalu dikenal di sana. Mereka sedang melakukan perjuangan ke arah situ. Nah, di sini sekali lagi beliau menekankan bagaimanapun dengan adanya problem sosial yang semakin meningkat, pastinya membutuhkan pekerja sosial yang semakin berkompeten ya. Jadi social worker itu adalah jawaban dari semua itu. Nah, dan hal itu bisa dicapai dengan adanya undang-undang pekerjaan sosial. Thank you very much for your presentation. So we are going to the last panelist who is Dr. Kunkurat MSI. Bapak Kunkurat, are you with us? Masih mute ya?
Oke, thank you Bu Andayani.
Ya. Ya, bisakah saya membaca CV Bapak sebelumnya?
Oh, ya boleh, tapi disingkat aja, itu terlalu panjang.
Betul,
Karena
betul ya, ini
udah
sudah
sore
saya
nih.
singkat ya. Betul, iya betul, agak terlambat, maaf ya Pak.
Yeah.
Dr. Kunkurat MSI, he graduated his undergraduate program from Pasundan University from International Relationship, and also his S2 or postgraduate master program from also Bandung, from Parahyangan Bandung University, and his doctoral program taken from International Relationship in Pajajaran University. And now he's working as the Vice Dean of Unpas Pasundan University in academic division, and also he is the secretary of organization of PB Paguyuban Pasundan. So again, we cannot more longer waiting for your presentation. So the floor is yours, Bapak Kunkurat. Terima kasih.
Oke, terima kasih kembali Ibu Andayani. Good afternoon, all of speaker, and then all participants of this webinar. I would like to say thank you and appreciate to this seminar webinar. Yeah, maybe I'm last one speaker, so maybe it's better I show the short time presentation. Yeah, actually I agree to the three speaker before, Professor Mahmoud from Turkey, Dr. Ibrahim Mubarak from Cameroon, Professor Madia, Dr. Pramit Singh, about the define of vulnerable and social protection. Thank you, and thanks God, we have given us healthy and good present here in this webinar. Salawat and salam sent to Prophet Muhammad, to his family, sahabat, and us that follow the Sunnah. Now I want to show my share screen. Bu Hani, tolong. Is vulnerable and social protection across the world, identifying child's progress and lesson learned. The speaker before maybe has elaborate how to relatively define vulnerable society and social protection in several countries, and then I believe that the several country, there is no country have no program social protection, and then there is no country, there is no social vulnerable. So maybe this is a general phenomenon. So maybe I would like allow me to explain, to inform rather phenomenon. A little bit theoretic of the vulnerable and social protection. For the first, I saw the title reform and social protection system in Indonesia. Indonesia is a large country and a good and a great population. Yeah, 2,700 population, and then 34 provinces, and then 13,000 archipelagos as archipelagos countries, large countries, huge countries, and then have many tribes. Yeah? 1,340, so very various tribes. I agree with the speaker before that vulnerable phenomenon is a complete condition all of the country in the world. So maybe in Indonesia, we have background, the objective of the Indonesian state are stated in the preamble of the 1945 Constitution of the Republic of Indonesia, in the fourth paragraph, one of which read to promote public welfare. And then next, Buan. Next. So as best concept of human security, there is a four-filer. Human security, human sustainability, and the bracket of freedom for vulnerability, and then human survival and the bracket freedom for fear, human development, the bracket freedom from want, human dignity, the bracket freedom for the sense. And then that's depend on environment security, economic security, and the human well-being. And then next, basic law of the Republic of Indonesia of 1945, chapter 14, with the title Nation, Economic and Social Welfare, Article 34, paragraph, first state that the poor and neglected children are cared for by state. And then Article 34, paragraph 2 state that the state develop a social security system for all people and empower the weak and incapable in accordance with human dignity. So based on this, the policy of the government have a social protection policy. It's a various social protection policy. Indonesia already has a various social protection program, ranging from the smart, namely ranging from the Smart Indonesian Card in Indonesia called KIP, Child Social Welfare Program, PKSA, pre-employment, car, school age child, bidik misi, called bidik misi program, family hope program, or PKH, national health insurance, JKN, food social assistance, ESP, rice program for prosperous families, RASTA, non-cash food assistance, BPNT, people business credit pool, working age productive business assistance for joint business group, Kubel, and Sunan. However, dispute having many social protection program, target and accuracy and scope is still very low. There is the real phenomenon. There are many good idea, good policy, but in the fields, it's still very low, especially in the informal sector, and has a potential to overlap. The vital role of social protection is also reflected in the government policy on the national economic recovery, or called PNN program, where one of the PAN program with a comprehensive policy program to safely and economic is the social protection program. The protection social media has a very crucial role during, especially COVID-19 pandemic, the maintain consumption level, especially for low-income people. Data from the Minister of Finance in 2020, the government has budgeted 2.039 trillion, which consists of 37.4 trillion PKH, 4.3.6 trillion basic food card, 6.8 trillion social assistance, and then pre-employment is electricity, 6.9 trillion, logistic food and groceries, 25 trillion, and village fund or BLT is 31.8 trillion. There's we think that so like this. And then challenge face it. Social protection consists of social assistance and social warranty. Social assistance is the transfer of money, good and service from the government to the poor, vulnerable, well, without requiring certain contribution. Meanwhile, social security is protection with insurance scheme that require a certain amount of contribution to each participant. Some of the problem of social assistance. the problem of social assistance. First, a very low accuracy. Second, the goal of each program are different, non-integrated sectoral data update, ownership of debt, and access to population, document, or the poor, or vulnerable who are still limited, slow and unappropriate delivery. There is still overlapping target recipient, weak emergency communication and coordination, elderly and disabled demographic group that have not received attention. And then the last, that's the optional socialization and education to the prospective benefit. Like Professor Madhya, Dr. Paramit Singh, like already thought that there is redundant, there is double. So that is a really phenomenon in my country, Indonesia. That's the weaknesses we think. So data evidence based on Bapenas, the institution of the government that for 1990 on the accuracy rate of program distribution in 2019, it shown several problems related to lack accuracy. So many program of social protection less than 60%, so low, yeah. So low target. So and then another security problem. The first non-compliant or participant register and paying you amount of premium that is not accordant with the economic price. The second, filling a claim that still difficult. And then defined benefit scheme and early withdrawal of old age benefit are at risk or being unsustainable in the long term. Social security has not yet optimally reach the informal sector, creation of potentially overlapping new program, unequal distribution of her facility of workforce, and then the last, and there is still resistance from another program, social program. So confused. And then the future strategy of that problem. There is many strategy consists of next Bu Ani, the future strategy. Future strategy consists 16 strategy, and then I focus to the first, and then the last strategy. The first, data transformation towards social registration through the discipline of data improvement and the development of an integrated data collection system that can cover 100 of the population through a single up-to-date database. And then the second, and so on, that is techniques. And then the number 14, number 14, simplification. Yeah, the strategy simplification of social protection program that have identical goal and objective to avoid overlapping. And then the 15 refusing programs that do not have the main objective of supporting social protection, such as fertilizer subsidies, should ideally be included in the food security program and housing related program that should be included in the TAPERA program. And then the 16, the fulfillment of the community need for social security must be pursued in the right portion so that the entire community can be provided with basic health need, but the benefits are not too excessive and the amount of contribution is appropriate so that it does not burden the community. And then it's hope that this various strategy can be used the alternative solution and become innovative step in overcoming problem and optimizing the implementation of social protection program in the future based on the right strategy of us must be optimistic that through the right social protection scheme, we will support Indonesian economic recovery to bounce back, be more independent and be ready to face the potential threat of the crisis in the future so that Indonesia long-term target to become developing country progress in 2014 will still be achieved. And then the conclusion, Wani, based on this observation, various social protection policy are still not effective on overcoming various social problems that arise in society, especially problem related to social welfare. And then it's about a kind of policy. I remember to the quality of policy. It depends on environment, independent of social problem, and then independent on social condition. So that's all. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bapak Dr. Kunkurat untuk presentasinya. Thank you very much. Baik, teman-teman sekalian, saya sedikit menyimpulkan. Saya akan sedikit menyimpulkan karena waktu juga sudah sangat terlambat ya, kita lebih dari jam 16. Apa yang disampaikan oleh Bapak Dr. Kunkurat adalah bahwa tujuan dari negara Indonesia yang tertuang dalam pembukaan Undang-Undang 45 adalah menciptakan masyarakat yang sejahtera ya. Ini bisa dilihat dari paragraf keempat pembukaan Undang-Undang Dasar 45 yang mengamanahkan kesejahteraan sosial. Kemudian juga bagaimana dalam tubuh atau badan Undang-Undang Dasar itu sendiri dalam pasal 34 ayat 1 dan pasal 34 ayat 2 juga mengamanahkan pentingnya negara memberikan kesejahteraan sosial bagi warga negaranya. Nah, terkait dengan bantuan sosial yang sudah diberikan oleh negara sangat bervariasi, mulai dari bantuan langsung tunai, kemudian ada juga Kartu Indonesia Pintar, Kartu Indonesia Sehat, kemudian PKH, KUR, BPNT, QB, Rastra, dan lain sebagainya ya. Belum lagi bantuan COVID gitu ya. Tetapi di sini Bapak Dr. Kunkurat mempertanyakan mengapa walaupun terdapat banyak bantuan sosial, tetapi masih tidak mampu untuk mengurangi begitu ya, mengurangi kemiskinan. Nah, di sini beliau melihat memang ada beberapa tantangan ya, yaitu tantangan dari sisi karakteristik dari masalah sosial, yang kedua karakteristik dari kebijakan sosial, dan juga tantangan dari kaitannya dengan lingkungan atau environment ya. Nah, lebih jauh beliau menyebutkan tantangan yang ditemukan di dalam kaitannya dengan bantuan sosial itu adalah yang pertama yang saya catat adalah data yang kurang akurat begitu ya. Kemudian yang kedua kurang koordinasi atau kurang komunikasi antara lembaga-lembaga yang memberikan bantuan, karena tadi kan banyak lembaga yang memberikan bantuan dengan berbagai kementerian. Nah, itu tidak ada koordinasi yang baik. Kemudian kurang sosialisasi juga kepada calon penerima manfaat begitu ya. Kemudian adanya sektoral data, adanya data yang sektoral tidak terintegrasi begitu ya. Kemudian khususnya data mengenai orang miskin itu ya, atau orang yang betul-betul membutuhkan bantuan itu sangat masih kurang. Nah, selain itu terdapat duplikasi penerima bantuan tadi ya, mungkin karena kurangnya data, ternyata yang menerima itu ada target group atau orang-orang tertentu yang menerima bantuan itu berkali-kali, namun ada juga yang tidak menerima sama sekali. Nah, selain itu adanya pemberian bantuan atau pendistribusian bantuan yang lambat begitu ya. Nah, seperti itu yang saya catat. Nah, di sini rekomendasi dari Bapak Dr. Kunkurat adalah yang pertama perlunya integrasi dalam hal pengambilan data, kemudian di mana di situ diperlukan data yang lebih data tunggal begitu ya, yang sangat up to date. Jadi datanya cuma satu begitu ya, tidak perlu misalnya beberapa lembaga atau kementerian itu memiliki data sendiri-sendiri dan itu berbeda-beda, tidak saling berhubungan. Yang kedua perlunya melibatkan digital platform, kemudian simplifikasi dari program ya, karena untuk program-program yang hampir sama mungkin bisa digabung seperti itu. Kemudian pentingnya untuk melakukan kerjasama dengan TNI maupun polisi, karena mereka memiliki koordinasi yang mungkin lebih baik begitu ya untuk memberikan bantuan seperti itu. Nah, baik, itu yang bisa saya catat. Sekali lagi terima kasih untuk para panelis. Thank you for all of the panelists. We are in the session of Q&A, so anybody who would like to ask the questions, please raise hand, or I don't know, maybe I can ask to the operator to read the question in the chat box. Thank you. Yeah. There's a lot of questions. Can you read the question, the operator? Oh no, there's no question. Oh ya, oh, ada. Oh ya, Profesor Pramjit, Associate Professor Pramjit, you have questions?
Yes.
Oh. Oh, sorry. I apologize. The question is for
No worries.
Professor Yuser. Yeah. I would like to ask Professor Yuser from Bapak Ulil. I'm interested for the spending to finance social assistance in Turkey, which is known as one of the most generous countries for social assistance. How much the spending and how to finance the social assistance? Would you please explain more on the terrorist damage at program? How and in what way government deal with terrorists? Can you please answer the question? Thank you.
Later in 5 minutes, I explain. Sure. Kızım yardım edebilir misin? Şeyi açmaya çalış bakayım. Ben Türkçe söyleyeyim, sen çevirmeye çalış.
Nasıl devam ettiğini soruyor ya da işte
Birisi devlet kendisi vakıf, kaymakamlıklar, vakıflar şeyini oluşturdu. Sorry, can I? My daughter is helping us from Italy for the translate. Betül help open her voice. I can say language Turkish. She is translated to English, but I can't hear her phone, her microphone. Can you help us? Me, Betülye. His name, her name. Ha. Edibe, şimdi duyuyor musun beni?
Evet, şimdi söyle, ben çevireyim.
Devlet vakıflar idaresini kurdu. Kendisine bağlı olaraktan teröristlerle şeyde yardım, yani savaşta ya da çatışmalarda şehit olan gazi ve yardımlara büyük fonlar ayırdı.
Tamam, bir dakika bunu çevireyim. So Turkey is trying to give the budget and financing with two ways. The first way to do this, they have built the General Directorate for Foundations, and those foundations helping for the martyrs who has been died in the terrorist attacks, and this is the way that government is protecting their families and people who have been hurt by this attacks.
30 yıl içerisinde Türkiye'nin güneyinde ayrılıkçı bir devlet kurulmak istendi Amerika ve batılı devletler tarafından. Söyle bunu lütfen.
So for 30 years, there has been terrorist attacks in the eastern side of Turkey with PKK, and those groups were trying to separate the Turkey's ethnic movements and within the nationalistic movements.
Yaklaşık 30.000 askerimiz ve 30.000 sivil insan öldü ve yaklaşık 100 milyar dolar Türkiye bütçesinden gitti.
There has been deaths about 30,000 people, and $100 billion has been spent during this process.
Türkiye bu sebeple profesyonel askerliğe geçti. Yani sözleşmeli maaşlı askerlik düzenine geçti.
That's why now Turkey is giving regular wages to their soldiers.
Gazi ve şehit olanlara gazi ve şehit ailelerine büyük yardımlar yapılıyor.
So for the veterans and who had been died in the attacks, they're getting help from the government for this reason.
Başka bir soru var mıydı ya da sorularına cevap verebildik mi?
Is those all the questions have been answered, or are there any other questions?
Yani detay başka bir bilgi istiyorlarsa söyleyebilirim.
I can also give if you would like any other details about this process.
Bapak Ulil, can you hear the answer? Oh yeah. So thank you very much for the answer.
Thank you.
Ya, tadi pertanyaannya adalah bagaimana cara pemerintah Turki yang memberikan bantuan untuk orang-orang yang terdampak dari terorisme. Di situ Profesor Yusar menjawab bahwa pemerintah Turki salah satunya mereka mendirikan yayasan-yayasan ya yang menolong bukan hanya orang-orang yang terdampak secara langsung ya, survivor, tetapi juga family ya, yang keluarga dari korban teroris itu. Nah, baru-baru ini mereka mengalami terorisme, aksi terorisme di bagian selatan ya, yang itu terkait dengan gerakan separatisme ya, atau gerakan untuk memisahkan dari negara Turki seperti itu.
Bir şey daha eklemek istiyorum fırsat varsa. Edebiyat söyleyebiliyor musun?
So professor would like to add something also.
Oh ya, oke.
Şayet bir asker şehit ya da gazi olursa veya herhangi bir sivil vatandaşımız zarar görürse terörizmden, bütün belediyeler, özel vakıflar bunlara yardımcı oluyor. Bunlara yardımcı oluyor. Ev inşaatından, evlerinin inşaatından, şehit ve gazi maaşına, oradan da evlerine her türlü yardım bütün toplum tarafından destek veriliyor, temin ediliyor.
So if a soldier dies, or if a soldier becomes a veteran, all foundations of Turkey and municipalities try to help, from their house building to their wages to their basic needs. So all the communities try to engage within those activities and build a society.
Aile fertlerinin tamamı, gazi ve şehitlerin aile fertlerinin tamamı saygı görüyor toplumda. Sevgi görüyor, saygı görüyor.
And their family members gets the respect from other people, and they include a huge manners in the society. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Ya, terima kasih. Saya tambahkan ya, jadi apa yang dilakukan oleh pemerintah Turki selain tadi menolong para korban ya dan keluarganya yang terdampak dengan aksi terorisme, mereka juga memberikan bantuan kepada tentara yang pensiun ya, menjadi veteran. Jadi pejuang perang tetapi setelah itu menjadi veteran begitu ya, menolong terkait dengan basic needs, kemudian yang saya tangkap tadi housing ya, terkait dengan housing dan lain sebagainya. Juga sepertinya ada menyebutkan wage ya, berarti ada bantuan keuangan begitu. Dan sekali lagi bukan hanya kepada veterannya itu sendiri tetapi juga kepada keluarganya. Baik Pak Ulil, sudah? Okay, any other question? Yeah, we have one question for Professor Ibrahim from Cameroon. What steps should we take as students of social welfare who will become candidates for social workers in facing social vulnerabilities in the future? Professor Ibrahim, can you read the chat box? The question for you, yeah.
Yeah, of course. These questions need to be answered in the 3 dimensions. The first dimension concerning academic dimension. The academic dimensions need, firstly, that the students have to love to build his features as a candidate or as a social workers. First thing is to love it. Secondly, is also take an engagement, intelligence engagement to study and to go to the floor, to the ground, to get more and more experiences. And the third is also be in the research, be in the culture, because I'm talking about the academic dimensions. You cannot be in the grounds of social workers without knowledge of the context, purity in the context, and the sociology movement. This is why I'm talking about the academic. And the other dimensions concern morality. And the morality, I can use what Professor Ire Almankin, when he was talking in preliminary speech, he was talking about Abrahamic faith. I'm talking about religions, I'm talking about spirituality, and I'm talking about morality. And the morality here means that you have to be in the good morality as a person who love human being, and you want to do good to anyone you love because you wanted to give satisfaction to God. We need to satisfy Allah. We want to prove our love to Allah by proving our love to all existence of human in the world. In not only the human in the world, but all world himself, global world, planets, environment, everything. We have to take it properly and take it very clean and take it in the good way. And the other things now is to take all human beings and humankind as your family. When you are you have to take it like your family. Let us feel what happened to your neighbor, what happened to your brother, what happened to Africans, what happened to European, what happened in Asia, has the things that happened to you in Indonesia or happened to you in Malaysia and Turkey. That is why that I can say that the way that any candidate for the social workers have to be taken as a way to be a very truth workers in the social area. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim. Tadi yang bertanya adalah Muhammad Bakri. Muhammad Bakri, masih ada pertanyaan? Sedikit saya garis bawahi tadi Mas Muhammad Bakri bertanya kepada Dr. Ibrahim ya. Jadi apa langkah yang harus dilakukan kalau kita ingin menjadi calon pekerja sosial yang bisa menghadapi kerentanan sosial ya di masa depan. Di sini beliau menggarisbawahi ada 3 dimensi ya. Ada beberapa dimensi yang terkait dengan akademik, yaitu yang pertama harus mencintai ya sebagai seorang pekerja sosial atau calon pekerja sosial itu kita mencintai bidang studi kita gitu ya, profesi kita. Kemudian yang kedua bagaimana kita punya engagement gitu ya, engagement untuk lebih grounded ya di masyarakat. Jadi kita mengambil banyak pengalaman-pengalaman di masyarakat untuk membantu mereka. Kemudian juga bagaimana kita selalu untuk mengkaitkan apa yang kita lakukan juga bukan hanya dengan eksistensi diri kita sendiri, tetapi dengan eksistensi alam, eksistensi semesta, eksistensi dunia secara global. Itu yang saya catat. Kemudian di sini juga pentingnya kita selalu peduli kepada masyarakat dari berbagai dari berbagai lapisan masyarakat berdasarkan rasa kemanusiaan. Itu yang bisa saya catat. Semoga saya tidak salah memberikan ini ya catatan karena tadi agak sedikit overlap begitu ya. Oke, thank you again for Muhammad Bakri and also Professor Ibrahim.
Thank you.
Okay, you still have question from Musa Gambo. I ask a question to Dr. Ibrahim Mubarak Mombo. Okay, Professor Musa Gambo, do you have question before we end the session? Or any other questions? Is that enough? Yeah. The time is
Salam.
Oh, Waalaikumsalam. Okay, please.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Yes, my question I like to ask Dr. Ibrahim Mubarak how the inter-religion in Cameroon, how the function inter-religion in Cameroon. Hello. Assalamualaikum.
Hello, Dr. Ibrahim. Can you hear? The question is, how about the inter-religion dynamic in Cameroon?
Really, as I said in my preliminary speech, inter-religions in Cameroon concern the mixing activities between Christian religions, Muslim religions, and traditional religions in Cameroon, who meet together for the projects of taking care of those persons who are living in vulnerability. And in that part, maybe going to the hospital, take charge of poor peoples, orphans, and also the victims of violence or terrorism and refugees. You have to see regularly Muslim and Christian and traditional religions or member of those religions who are meet ourselves together, join money and join food, join dresses to go near those orphans or near those poor people or near those refugees to help them. I think that we can say in Cameroon, dialogue between religions are giving the very good fruit of the tree.
Thank you. Is that enough, Dr. Musa Gambo?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim Mubarak. God bless you. God bless all. Please, Allah give you all this work for Islam in Cameroon. But you are a very man working for the Islam. My prayer for you in the work, my prayer and you, Allah praise you. Allah give you a long life. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you for your prayer for Dr. Ibrahim, and also I think all of us, yeah. All of the audiences, we are in the end of the international webinar. The time is already 16:29, so we are very late, but that's very great, however, because there is a lot of discussions and a lot of participation from all of you. And also thank you very much for all the panelists. If there is no more questions, let me finish the session. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Again, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yeah, see you in the next webinar next year.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I would like to give the floor to the
Thank you very much,
Master of
everybody.
Ceremony. Thank you very much, all of
Terima
the
kasih
panelists.
Ibu Andayani.
Iya, terima kasih.
Thank you, Ma'assalama. Allah bless you.
Ayo. Saya gitu. Sambil foto ya nanti ya. MCD. MCN dulu ya.
Can you please not leave the Zoom meeting because the committee will take the picture. Yeah, who will give the instruction? The MC? Can you give the instruction to take the picture?
Nanti ada operatornya.
Ya, operator. Oke. Please, operator. Yeah.
Would you please to open the camera, Bapak dan Ibu, teman-teman semua? Mohon dibuka kameranya, Bapak dan Ibu. Kita ambil foto sebentar. Sudah ya, sudah diambil belum?
I don't know who instructed. Who give instruction? 1, 2.
1, 2, 3. Terus pindah lagi, baru share screen pertama, screen kedua, 1, 2, 3. Screen yang ketiga, terima kasih. 1, 2, 3. Ya. Ya, ayo kita